Jiang Jingshi lost his pocket watch. His buddies casually posted a lost and found notice. Guys who find it can come to me for a 50,000 yuan reward, and girls can date Jiang Jingshi. As luck would have it, I found it, but when I looked, I found that the pocket watch actually had a photo of the prettiest girl in our class tucked inside. It wasn't until this moment that I finally understood. Jiang Jingshi likes Zhongling Jia. I held the pocket watch and suddenly felt at a loss. 2 minutes ago, I was still fantasizing that my 3-year-long crush might actually come true, and now, it was all over. Just then, Zhongling Jia came in through the classroom door, looking anxious. She said to the friend beside her, "It's been a whole morning already, and we still haven't found it. What are we supposed to do? What if some other girl takes the pocket watch to see Jiang Jingshi? I'd go crazy." Her friend comforted her. "It's okay. So many people have chased after him, and he's never said yes to any of them. This time, maybe it was just a joke. Jiang Jingshi is handsome and rich. He's also an excellent student. Ever since I've known him, he's always had no shortage of admirers." Zhongling Jia was one of them, but Jiang Jingshi remained unmoved the whole time. What was strange, though, was that about half a month ago, Jiang Jingshi suddenly stopped being so cold toward Zhongling Jia. Some even began to speculate. In the end, Jiang Jingshi, the untouchable flower on a high mountain, would fall into Zhongling Jia's hands. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Zhongling Jia sigh. Her long hair fell over her shoulders, and the nail polish on her fingers was so pretty it almost looked dreamy. My pen hesitated. It suddenly came back to me. This morning, I actually picked up the pocket watch by Zhongling Jia's seat. Oh, so that's how it was. Jiang Jingshi did it on purpose. He deliberately left it by Zhongling Jia's seat and then posted that message, all just to find a way to be with Zhongling Jia. But who would have thought I'd end up beating him to it, too, all day long? I couldn't focus on the lesson at all. It wasn't until school was over that I felt like I'd been granted a reprieve, and hurried out of the school gate. I got home, I pulled out my phone and glanced at the contact pinned at the top of my WeChat. Jiang Jingshi, 2 minutes ago, he sent me a voice message. Still won't tell me your name. Actually, I've already found you. 3 years ago, we happened to add each other on WeChat in a forum, but back then, I didn't know him yet. I'd been scammed out of money online before, so I was very cautious and never told him my name. I only told him that my family originally came from Suzhou, and that I'm currently studying in Beijing, but he was pretty upfront about it. What a coincidence, I'm in Beijing too. My name is Jiang Jingshi. Judging by the way you talk, we're probably about the same age. I didn't think much of it, not until the start of my first year of high school. I really did hear the name Jiang Jingshi. He was far more dazzling than I had imagined. In reality, I'm introverted and sensitive, with barely a handful of friends. That made me even more afraid to confess my feelings to him. Now, when he says that, he's probably just trying to scare me. Besides, he already has someone he truly likes. To him, I'm just an ordinary online acquaintance. I sighed and replied to him, "Sorry, I won't be using this account anymore. Let's just pretend we never met." After I sent it, I logged out of WeChat, then I cried all night. What can we do? Half asleep and half awake, I thought to myself, if only I were a man, then even without love, there'd still be 50,000 yuan. The next day, I struggled for a long time, and in the end, he decided to put the pocket watch back where it belonged. It's kind of like returning things to their rightful owner. Some things just aren't meant to be yours, and no amount of forcing it will make a difference. I hadn't even had a chance to return it yet. Just in the moment I went to the back of the classroom to get some water, Zhongling Jia rushed over, holding the pocket watch in her hand, tears in her eyes as she confronted me. "I've been looking for this for so long, and it was with you all along. If I hadn't passed by your desk while cleaning just now, I never would have found out." "Huang Xiu, do you like Jiang Jingshi too? Do you want to be with him?" She was already pretty, but seeing her cry like that, I suddenly understood the true meaning of the phrase "a beauty in tears." The eyes of every classmate in the room instantly snapped to us. Ever since I started school, I'd never had so many eyes on me, except for when a teacher called on me in class. In an instant, my heart started racing. I really do like Jiang Jingshi, but I'm just too timid. I didn't dare to admit it, but just as I was about to deny it, I saw Jiang Jingshi leaning against the classroom door. He looked at me, his face expressionless, yet in the next instant, when his gaze fell upon Zhongling Jia, it held a hint of tenderness. I never really understood what it meant to have a heart as cold as ashes. At this moment, I finally understood. Then I heard my own voice. "I happened to pick up this watch by chance. What does it have to do with this guy named Jiang Jingshi? I don't like him either." In one sentence, I somehow told several lies. At that moment, I was just grateful that when we were only online friends, I had never called him, otherwise, he probably would have recognized that I was the one he'd been chatting with online. As soon as he finished speaking, a few classmates around them chuckled. Yeah, Huang Xiu's such a bookworm, she never pays attention to anything outside her studies, she probably doesn't even know Jiang Jingxi, let alone know that post exists. That's true enough, it must just be a misunderstanding. Lingjia, why don't you take a look behind you, who's come looking for you? Zhong Lingjia froze for a moment and turned to see Jiang Jingxi. You're here. Jiang Jingxi walked over, his voice smooth and clear. He said as he handed her the bag in his hand, you didn't have breakfast, did you? I brought you some soup dumplings. Only then did Zhong Lingjia smile. Then what about the pocket watch? Are you going to keep your promise and be with Huang Xiu? For hearing that, Jiang Jingxi laughed. He let out a sigh. The pocket watch was under your desk. You're really something. How could you even let someone else pick it up? As soon as those words were out, what else was there for everyone to misunderstand? The students around them started jeering. Young Master Jiang really has never chased after anyone before. His approach is surprisingly so tactful. Turn around. Well, now it's been picked up by someone else. How are we supposed to clean this up now? And it even made Lin Jiao cry. At this very moment, I stood where I was. Suddenly, I felt like I was nothing but a downright villain, just when things were getting awkward. Jiang Jingxi walked over. He spoke. Classmate, the pocket watch is mine. Thank you for picking it up. I'll give you 50,000 yuan as promised. Could you return it to me? I pressed my lips together, my voice barely audible. Okay. Just then, the bell rang. I didn't dare look at Jiang Jingxi again and hurried back to my seat. Who would have thought? It was the first time I'd ever spoken to someone I liked. This was such an awkward scene. They were made for each other. A perfect match. I felt like a fool. I asked myself, Huang Xiu, is this really the kind of thing you want to keep going with? 5. Jiang Jingxi and Zhong Lingjia started dating openly and without the slightest attempt to hide it, and I, too, received that 50,000 yuan, but it wasn't Jiang Jingxi who handed it to me personally. He had a close buddy named Duan Yi. His personality was every bit as wild and unruly as his name. It was just after classes had let out that morning, and the students in the classroom hadn't left yet. He came in through the front door, walked straight up to my desk, and tapped it. Hey, give me your WeChat. I froze. He frowned. Huang Xiu, that's her name, right? It actually sounds pretty nice. I looked up. He saw my face clearly, and his gaze flickered for a moment before he gave a light cough. WeChat, give me your WeChat. I'll transfer the money to you. At that, I hurriedly wrote down a string of numbers on the paper. This one. He took it, gave me one long, hard look, and only then did he leave. The moment he stepped out of the classroom, a crowd of people gathered around me. Damn, I thought you were just joking, but I never expected you to actually. Ah, that's Jiang Jingxi we're talking about, the rich family's young heir. To him, 50,000 is no different from 50 cents. I'm so jealous, but compared to 50,000 yuan, Ling Jia is the lucky one. She gets to be with Jiang Jingxi, if they really end up getting married someday. Come to think of it, Huang Xiu, you really should thank Ling Jiao properly. If it weren't for her, how else would you have gotten such a sweet deal? I've always been quiet and reserved in class. I've never been in a situation like this before. Feeling a bit awkward, I didn't say a word and just offered a polite smile. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Zhong Lingjia tying up her hair. Hearing the comments, she chuckled and said, all right, that's enough nonsense from you all. With that, she walked out the door. Her hair tie was sky blue, with a tiny bow on it, butterfly decoration. It looks especially lovely on her. What a coincidence. I have the exact same one. Jiang Jingxi helped pick it out, but unfortunately, I was afraid it'd draw too much attention, so I never wore it. 6 in the evening, when I got home and turned on my phone, I saw Duanya's friend request. Since I found out that Jiang Jingxi and I went to the same school, I set up another WeChat account to add people I knew from first high. I'm afraid he'll find out from our mutual friends that the person he's been chatting with is me, Huang Xiu, who was unremarkable and went unnoticed at school, but after all this time, I realized I was just overthinking it, because my circle is too small, I can't get anywhere near him, and Duan Yi was the first person in my WeChat contacts who had anything to do with Jiang Jingxi. I accepted the friend request. The next moment, his transfer notification came through. I counted the zeros above, not a cent less, 50,000 yuan. My hand hovered above the screen for a long time, then I tapped accept. thanks, I said. After sending it, I went and took a shower. When I checked my phone again, there was still no response from the other side. I was just about to put my phone down when a message suddenly popped up. Duanya, sorry, I wasn't trying to sound so harsh earlier today. It's all Jiang Jingshi's fault. He was too lazy to come find you himself. And I was in the middle of catching up on sleep when he dragged me up. Seeing that, I thought of Duanya's unruly face and couldn't help but find it a little amusing. I typed, it's okay, 7, to be honest. 50,000 yuan was a huge sum of money for me. I didn't dare touch it, so I saved it away. After that night, Duan Yi and I kept running into each other several times a day for quite a long while. In the supermarket checkout line, we'd just stand there, one in front of the other. Even when we came out during break after class, we'd run into each other in the hallway, but we hardly ever talked, until that day. When we bumped into each other face to face, the cup of water in my hand slipped and spilled all over his school uniform. He raised an eyebrow, wiped it off without a care with a tissue, and said to me, what a coincidence, Huang Xiu, looks like we're pretty destined to meet. After that day, we started to keep in touch more often. He's actually really good at studying, just like Jiang Jingshi. They seem born with the kind of talent that lets them succeed without much effort. After getting to know him better, I'd also ask him questions about problems I couldn't figure out myself. He's also very happy to help me. Only once I sent him the question, but he was in the middle of a game. He gave me a call. I'm tied up right now, can't help. Jiang Jingshi is here with me, let him show you. Hearing that name, my heart started racing. I gripped the phone, my throat suddenly dry. No, that's all right. Before I could finish speaking, another voice chimed in from over there. His voice was clear and crisp. Look at the problem, there's a given condition. His explanation was very logical and clear, and he finished in no time. After speaking, he paused and said in a low voice, does that make sense? I pressed my lips together. Yes, thank you. No one on the other end said anything else. He must have already put the phone down. I was just about to hang up when I heard Duanya's voice again. Do you still remember her? The girl who picked up your pocket watch. Jiang Jingshi gave a soft hum in response. Remember that. Since when did you two get so close? Duanya clicked his tongue. Secret. Jiang Jingshi was silent for a moment. The desk she took that photo on looks a little familiar, like Ling Jia's. 08. At that, I was instantly jolted. I hurriedly hung up the phone. I'd also taken a photo of this desk for Jiang Jingshi, but just now, he said Ling Jia also had one exactly like it. I thought it over for a moment. My mind was a bit muddled. It suddenly came back to me, the night I completely abandoned that WeChat account. He told me he had found me. Could it be that he mistook Ling Jia for the online friend he'd been chatting with? Then even more so, was he only with Ling Jia because of this? Maybe because I had already thought of that possibility. That night, I barely slept at all. I kept hesitating over whether to use that account to add Jiang Jingshi back. I wanted to get everything straight. I hesitated for several days. Just when I had made up my mind, I saw Ling Jia rise onto her toes lightly on the way home from school. She kissed the corner of Jiang Jingshi's mouth. There was no one around, and it was very quiet. I hid in the corner. He heard her ask him in a sweet, playful tone, my family wants me to study abroad. Will you come with me? A breeze passed by, rustling the leaves. Jiang Jingshi let out a soft laugh. You've already made up your mind. How could I possibly say no? I pressed my lips together. Tears fell silently. No need to ask again. So what if he mistook me for someone else? If I told him I was the one he'd been chatting with online, would he fall for me? He'd probably just be disappointed. The one he'd been talking to wasn't Ling Jia after all. I'm just an ordinary, nobody girl. 9. I decided to slowly let Jiang Jingshi go. I threw away that hair tie too. For a girl my age, the word like feels both light and heavy, but no matter what, your future still comes first. I put all my energy into my studies. Duan Yi was the first to notice. He messaged me on WeChat. I've barely seen you stepping out of the classroom lately. Naturally, I also rarely saw him and Jiang Jingshi anymore. I replied, I'm about to start my senior year, so I want to focus on studying. It took a long time for the other side to reply. Okay. After our chat, I thought he wouldn't look for me again, but the very next day, after evening self-study, Jiang Jingshi came over to my desk. He handed me a stack of reference books and notes. Duan Yi asked me to pass these on to you. I froze for a second and blurted out, what about him? Jiang Jingshi stared at me for a moment. He dragged me out for a game of basketball in the middle of the night yesterday and ended up hurting his leg. He's at the hospital now. Where's the courtyard? I was startled and jumped to my feet. How is he? It's nothing serious. I'll be back in a couple of days, but when I asked which hospital, Jiang Jingshi still wouldn't tell me, so I had no choice but to quietly take out my phone and message Duan Yi. It took a long time before he finally replied, "It's nothing, just a minor scrape. It'd be too embarrassing if you saw it, so give me a little dignity. Did you get the reference book I asked Jiang Jingshi to pass along? There are also 2 notebooks of his in there. I only managed to get them from him after quite a bit of effort, and now I'm giving them to you," I replied. "Got it, thank you. Once you're discharged, let me treat you to a meal." He sent back a really cute sticker. I put my phone away and looked at the things in my hands. I opened the top book. What a coincidence, the name Jiang Jingshi was written on the title page. My gaze lingered on it for a moment, then I turned away without missing a beat. I flipped through a few pages. I have to admit, these things are genuinely useful to me. I cleared my mind of distracting thoughts. Every time I opened it, I would instinctively ignore the name on top. I used to hover around the 20th to 30th place in my grade. In the final exams not long after, he somehow even broke into the top 10. Duan Yi sent me a message, "Congratulations." After he was discharged from the hospital, I suggested getting a meal together a couple of times, but he kept saying he was too busy. Then it dawned on me, he probably didn't want me to spend any money. Other than that, we hardly had any contact. Then I spent the entire summer on it. I thoroughly mastered everything above 10. My final year of high school flew by. I rarely left the classroom anymore, and I couldn't be bothered to ask around about Jiang Jingshi and Zhonglin. But they really were the perfect match. I'd hear bits and pieces about them now and then. I heard that when Zhonglin was celebrating her birthday, Jiang Jingshi went out of his way to clear out an empty villa he owned and invited quite a few classmates. He even decorated the place himself. You could hardly call that anything but thoughtful, I heard someone say in front of me. But why does the greeting card he gave Lingjia say for Maisie? No idea. I've never heard of Lingjia having that name. Maybe it's something only Jiang Jingshi would call her. I sat nearby, for a heart that had been calm for so long. A faint ripple stirred once again, a river of misty grass, catkins drifting through the city, and the yellow rain of plum season. Maisie was the screen name I used when chatting with Jiang Jingshi all along. That's what he has called me. Does he still call Zhonglin that in private now? And Zhonglin clearly knew all along that she had been impersonating someone else, yet she still kept up the act until now. But whatever the case, none of this has anything to do with me anymore. In the 2 months leading up to the college entrance exam, I hardly ever saw Jiang Jingshi and Zhonglin anymore. They were busy getting ready to go abroad. I heard that back in his freshman year, Duanya had also said he wanted to go abroad, but a few years had gone by. He must have changed his mind. He wasn't planning to go abroad with his best buddy either. Instead, he was putting his head down and preparing for the college entrance exam. Everything went on in an orderly, steady manner. By the time the final mock exam came around, I had already climbed to 3rd place in the grade. That day, Jiang Jingshi happened to come back to school to pick something up. I was standing beneath the big grade ranking board. He came over and stopped beside me. He glanced at the rankings. "Where are you planning to apply?" I heard him ask. I didn't expect him to talk to me. It's been a long time since we last spoke. "The account named Maisie. I haven't logged in for a year either." After thinking it over, "Why university?" Upon hearing that, Jiang Jingshi raised an eyebrow and smiled. "Not bad. I had originally planned to go to Kyoto University. It's only 1 street away from Huada. Can do it now." He's going abroad with Zhonglin. They will have a bright future and a fulfilling life. I gave a faint smile and said nothing. He turned and walked away. After he left, I stood there for quite a while, maybe because I was thinking again about all those times I had a crush on him. I suddenly wanted to give him a proper goodbye. He may not come when it's time to take the graduation photo. This might be the last time we ever see each other. But I ran after him, and before I even had a chance to call his name, I heard him on the phone. "I asked for you. She said she wants to go to Kyoto University. Weren't you two pretty close before? Why didn't you just ask her yourself?" Something was mumbled in reply on the other end. Jiang Jingshi clicked his tongue in annoyance. "Lingjia's waiting for me outside the school. Gotta go." I stood there, pressing my lips together. In the end, he still didn't catch up. For him, Zhonglin was the one who truly held his heart, and I probably won't use this username again. 11. But I never expected that. Before long, I unexpectedly ran into Jiang Jingshi again. Someone was gossiping in the classroom. I heard he's not planning to go abroad after all. He's coming back to take the college entrance exam. "Why did you and Lingjia argue?" "Seems so. I have a friend who's close with Zhonglin. I heard she pretended to be Jiang Jingshi's online friend and that's how she won him over, but secrets don't stay hidden forever. She kept it under wraps for so long, and in the end, it still came out, and just like that, the two of them parted on bad terms. I heard it all, and I couldn't quite put into words how I felt. That night, it happened to be my turn for duty. By the time I finished cleaning up, there was hardly anyone left in the teaching building. Then I saw Jiang Jingshi in the hallway. He was leaning against the wall. He gave me a quick glance, as if recalling something. He spoke up. Huang Xiu. I turned to look at him. His gaze was a little dim, a cigarette still pinched between his fingers, but it wasn't lit. He gave a small smile. Your name is beautiful. It comes from the rains during the yellowing of plums. I froze for a moment, then nodded. Yes. He walked up to me, his eyes fixed steadily on me. Do you know the girl whose screen name is Maisie? I clenched my palm, looking into his intense gaze, and was still debating whether to tell him the truth when I saw his phone screen light up. 2 words appeared on it, Ling Jia, so I shook my head. I don't know her. I didn't find out until much later, after Zhong Lingjia and Jiang Jingshi got together. They had been avoiding any mention of those days when they used to chat online. She said she lost that account. She said she was unhappy back then and didn't want to bring it up again, but that day, a friend came to see her and let it slip while pointing at the hair tie on Zhong Lingjia's wrist. Looks good, right? I ran all over town to buy it for you. You didn't even like it before, and now you wear it every day. Jiang Jingshi finally realized that everything had been wrong from their day in, day out chats. He had already picked up that Maisie and he were probably at the same school, even in the same grade. So when he got back to school, he started openly asking around to see if anyone recognized the username, but after asking around, he still came up empty-handed. 12. On the day we took our graduation photos, Duanyi came looking for me. Want to take a group photo? I thought about it for a moment and agreed. Over the past year, we hadn't really spoken much, but he still remembered to ask which school I was planning to attend. He probably really did see me as a friend. Jiang Jingshi just stood beside us, watching the scene calmly. After the photo was taken, Duanyi looked at it for a long while, then asked Jiang Jingshi, aren't you taking a photo? Why don't the 3 of us take one together? Jiang Jingshi looked up and gazed at me for a moment. No. Before long, the college entrance exam arrived. I did really well on the exam. My score was more than enough to get into Huada. Jiang Jingshi also got into Peking University, just as he had hoped. Duanyi and I go to the same university, but our buildings are very far apart. You'd hardly ever see it. Jiang Jingshi would often come looking for him. One time, I happened to run into them. It was the first time we'd seen each other since the day we took our graduation photo. Seeing me, Jiang Jingshi froze for a moment. Strange. Over the past few months, I'd barely thought of him at all. Now that we were seeing each other again, I felt nothing much in my heart. They said they wanted to grab a meal with me. I remembered the meal I owed Duanyi back in high school and said yes. On the way, Duanyi asked about Jiang Jingshi. Not yet found. Jiang Jingshi gave a soft not bothering to hide it from me. During this time, the fact that he was looking for someone had already spread through the class group chat from our graduating year. He said, she must have seen it, but she never came to find me. Sometimes I wonder if there's really such a person in this world. Duanyi let out a sigh. If you can't find him, just let it go. Zhong Lingjia is overseas, but he still has you on his mind and flies back now and then to see you. There's really no chance anymore. Jiang Jingshi lifted his eyes, seeming not too willing to say more. 13. After we finished eating, I'll go pay the bill, but the front desk told me that Jiang Jingshi had already paid. I let out a sigh. I wondered when I'd ever be able to repay Duanyi for that meal I owed him. After that, I started running into Duanyi often again. He started courting me. It wasn't that I wasn't moved, but sometimes, when she thought about Jiang Jingshi and his relationship with him, when she thought about that bleak, joyless stretch of time before, I still couldn't bring myself to accept Duanyi. On New Year's Day that year, he gave me a huge bouquet of roses at a lavishly decorated Western restaurant and asked if I'd be his girlfriend. I turned him down. That night, Jiang Jingshi came looking for me. He transferred here for you. I looked up in surprise, not knowing what to say. Jiang Jingshi clicked his tongue. He suddenly said, are you afraid of something? For a split second, I almost thought he already knew I was Maisie. I forced myself to calm down, then I shook my head. No. He raised an eyebrow, as if he just asked offhandedly, and then said no more about it. After that day, Duanyi rarely appeared in my life anymore, even though we were at the same school, but there were so many people in one school. If I hadn't deliberately kept in touch, it really would have been hard to run into each other. By the time I saw Jiang Jingshi Again, it was already summer break 6 months later. I used the 50,000 yuan he had given me back then to start a studio with a roommate I trusted. I happened to run into Jiang Jingshi while I was out discussing an investment with someone. Across the hallway, he stood among the crowd. A number of people had gathered around. He remained just as he was before. Wherever I go, I'm the center of attention. I'd had a bit to drink, my head was spinning, and my legs felt unsteady. Suddenly, I saw Jiang Jingshi. And for a moment, my mind went completely blank. It wasn't until he made his way through the crowd, walked up to me, and gently steadied me that I snapped back to reality. Intermittent late summer rain. He grabbed my arm and then touched my forehead with his hand. You have a fever. That's when it finally hit me. I was feeling dizzy in a way that was a little abnormal, but my brain was already struggling to keep up, right? I got into the car. 14. Jiang Jingshi helped me register, then stayed with me for a few hours while I was on an 4 drip, half awake in between dreams. I heard him ask me, I still have something important to take care of, I'll leave in a bit. I murmured a couple of times in response. He let out a sigh. Give your roommate a call with my phone passcode. I blurted out a few numbers off the top of my head, then I blacked out. When I came to, Jiang Jingshi was still there. He stood by the window, his back looked a little lonely. He saw me wake up, he looked at me, his voice a little hoarse. Why, I didn't even catch on. What? He gave a self-mocking laugh. Strange as it sounds, the moment I unlocked your phone, I instinctively opened WeChat to see whether there was another number. You were clearly by my side the whole time, so why did you just stand there and watch me? I mistook the person. The hospital room was so quiet I could hear my own breathing. After a long silence, I said, I thought about telling you, but back then, you had Zhongling Jiao by your side. After she left, I felt there was no real need for it anymore. Hearing this, Jiang Jingshi walked up to me, his eyes rimmed red. Then you. I lifted my gaze, my expression open and unguarded. It's all in the past now, isn't it? Why keep dwelling on it? Before long, my roommate hurried over. She stood outside the door. I nodded, and only then did she come in. She looked at Jiang Jingshi. Oh my god, I nearly had a heart attack when I got the call. Since when did you go behind our backs and get yourself a boyfriend, and such a handsome one at that? Guy. Hearing that, I quickly denied it. He's not my boyfriend. Oh, then what's your relationship? I was silent for a moment. Just a high school classmate. As soon as I finished speaking and looked up again, Jiang Jingshi had already left the ward at some point. 15. That night, I received a friend request. It was Jiang Jingshi. He had only looked at my phone earlier today. For him, remembering a WeChat ID was hardly any trouble at all. I hit approve, then got straight to the point. How much were the medical bills? I'll transfer the money to you. It took a long time before they replied. Do we really have to do this? At the very least, we've known each other for years. Staring at the words on the screen, I almost cried. Yeah, all these years, I watched him have a blazing, all-consuming romance with another girl. Back then, he almost went abroad with her. After thinking it over, I transferred some money to him. That should be enough. Take it. After that, I exited our chat. I sat on the bed for a long time. It was so late that even the dorm lights had gone out. Only then did I pick up my phone and turn it back on. Then I switched to my WeChat account. I hadn't logged into this WeChat account for far too long. At that moment, seeing the username and avatar on it, for a moment, I felt a little dazed. I tapped on Jiang Jingshi's profile picture. It was still the same one from before. He had never changed it. He seems to send me messages every day, but unfortunately, I can only see the past few days worth. As for anything before that, I have no way of knowing. Good morning. I ran into a high school classmate today. He asked me whether I'd found you, and I said no. I used to be quite arrogant, but on this matter I took a hard fall. I had the wrong person. You know about that, don't you? How have you been lately? I read through them one by one. In the end, I deleted this account. Honestly, I wonder about it sometimes too. If he hadn't mistaken me for someone else back then, what would our ending be today? But unfortunately, there are no what-ifs in this world. 16. In fact, Jiang Jingshi was very busy. He was busy starting a business, busy working on projects, but ever since he found out I was Maisie, he's come looking for me almost every day. From his school to Huada, it really isn't that close, and yet, he still showed up every single day. That day, my roommate pointed at Jiang Jingshi downstairs. He's such a handsome guy. How could you bear to do that? I've already checked everything out for you. This guy's family is loaded, and as soon as I logged onto Tsinghua's campus network, guess what? Half the posts were talking about him. He's a real hot commodity. I couldn't help laughing. There's never been a shortage of girls chasing after him. It's been that way since high school. I'd been avoiding Jiang Jingxi all along, until one day, a senior stopped me halfway and handed me a love letter. I heard Jiang Jingxi from Tsinghua is pursuing you. I've had a crush on you for so long, and I was afraid that if I didn't tell you now, I'd never get the chance. Good luck with your studies, Junior. After saying that, he hurriedly ran off. I stood there holding that love letter, stunned for a moment. I was just about to put it in my bag, then someone took it from my hand. I looked up. It turned out to be Jiang Jingxi. His eyes were dark and brooding. He just confessed to you, and you said yes. I froze, not even getting the chance to answer. Then I heard Jiang Jingxi's sharp, slightly hostile question. What exactly did I do wrong? Was it really beyond saving? Back then, I could tell. You liked me too, didn't you? I pressed my lips together and nodded. Yes. At the time, when I found that pocket watch, I also wondered whether I thought I could finally be with you, but I couldn't. His throat bobbed. I mistook her for you. She had the same hair tie as you. After you disappeared, I was out of options. So I found her and asked if she was Maisie. She admitted it. Give me a chance, okay? I looked up and met his gaze. After a long moment, I shook my head. I've already given us plenty of chances. I haven't forgotten. I wanted to tell him the truth countless times, but every time, Zhonglingzhou would cut me off, and just 2 hours ago, I'd even gotten a phone call from Duanyi. He told me, I'm at the airport. I'm about to leave the country for a student exchange. I was silent for a moment. Wish you all the best, he sighed. I heard about what happened to you. All these years, aside from Zhonglingzhou, there's never been anyone else by his side. You're the Maisie he's been looking for all this time, aren't you? I gave a small hum. Yes, it's me. He smiled. So you turned me down because of this too? I thought about it. Pretty much. It was noisy on his end. I listened quietly. Neither of us said a word. It wasn't until much later that's when I finally heard his voice. If I come back in a year and you're still not with him, and haven't fallen for anyone else, why not give me a try? His voice was very gentle. He was nothing like the bold, swaggering person I'd met for the first time. I thought maybe I should give myself another chance. Too, I couldn't keep being this timid forever, always second-guessing myself, so I let out a very faint smile. Sure. 17. After that, Jiang Jingxi came to see me twice more. The second time, he left his pocket watch in my studio. I called him, but he didn't pick up. By the time I found my way to the bottom of his apartment building, I saw Zhonglingzhou dragging his suitcase, crying as she threw herself into his arms. I know you blame me, but I just like you too much. I've been pretending to be someone else this whole time. Do you think I'm not exhausted? Do you think I'm not scared? Sometimes I even dream about it. If you found out the truth, would you hate me? I'm only back for a few days this time. Could you show me around? After this, I promise I'll never bother you again. Then I saw Jiang Jingxi instinctively raise his hand, as if to wipe her tears, but his hand hovered in midair, as if he suddenly remembered something, and in the end, it never reached the corner of her eye. He let out a soft sigh and gently pushed her away. I found her. As soon as he finished speaking, Zhonglingzhou suddenly lifted her gaze, tears streaming down her face. She's better than me. Jiang Jingxi was just about to answer when he spotted me. I nodded at him, then placed the pocket watch on the ground, left without looking back. As soon as I got in the taxi, I saw he'd called me several times. I called him back. He let out a sigh. I'll make things clear with her. I thought about it for a moment. None of that matters anymore. Actually, I've always wanted to thank you for the 50,000 yuan from back then. On the other end of the line, Jiang Jingxi seemed to think for quite a while before he finally remembered the matter concerning the 50,000 yuan. His voice was slightly hoarse. Honestly, the fact that you found that pocket watch was fate, wasn't it? I rolled down the car window, but it was never mine to begin with. See, even now, you still can't help but go easy on Zhonglingzhou. 18. That winter, my studio landed a big contract. We made a very substantial sum of money. I got Jiang Jingxi's bank account from Duanyi and transferred 50,000 yuan to him, but in this moment, the unease and confusion of my youth finally truly slipped away. Fireworks lit up outside. I snapped a photo and sent it to Duanyi. It's beautiful. Shall we watch them together next year? He replied almost instantly. It's a background almost exactly like mine. It can be this year. Come downstairs.